Oh, giddy up, go. My whole peripheral has been messing with me lately.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You know what the root cause of it is?
I have no idea.
Here we are, folks. It's post July 4th, and I had a really exciting thing happen on July 2nd. It was scary for about 48 hours, but then it got very cool. So my daughter, and I'm allowed to officially announce this now, which is great, my daughter had her first child on July 2nd, 2019. So this little booger came into town with my daughter from California. They reside at 29 Palms Military Base currently. And my son-in-law is in officer school to be a Marine officer, which is exciting times. And at the same time, this little guy came to Rochester, met his family through the baby showers and met all his family that he hasn't seen because he's been in California. And our family is all entirely here in Rochester, New York. And he got so excited that he pushed this labor through over the course of 4 days and said, I'm coming out whether you guys like it or not. So 6 weeks early, we have officially Oliver James Martins added to our family. So here it is, 4 pounds 8 ounces he was at birth. He's now around 4 pounds, but they just pulled him off the incubator last night, and now he's got his own crib and he's taking food from mom. So we are excited. He's a week old right now. And this is my first grandchild at 47 years old. I cannot wait, and I did not realize how much this really personally was going to affect me. So to all of you, I just had to be that excited and let everybody know that I now am a grandfather, another title to my arsenal.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. And as I've been telling you guys all that information, we have a guest on the line. I'm really excited because the reason why I wanted to have him on originally is because my son-in-law loves magic. So Anna DeRosa, who is our wonderful partner in social media and helps with getting guests, says, I have a friend, Dr. Vince Mancuso, Brian, that you should meet. He is thinking about doing a magic business. Plus, he's a teacher, named like 10 things. So I'm going to do a little brief intro right here. So with us today from Rochester, New York, we have Vince Mancuso, who has been a middle school science teacher for 20 years. And he has been extensive research on discrepant event phenomenon in the science classroom. And I'm going to let him talk more about it, but he's an author and he's also a magician, and I believe he's starting a little magic company up. So I want to welcome, enough of me talking, it's been enough, I apologize. So let's welcome Dr. Vince Mancuso to the show.
Thanks very much, Brian. I appreciate it. Thank you for the invite, and I'm excited to talk. That was quite an intro, by the way.
Well, that's good. I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm often impressed by people in science because I don't think science has a big enough role in our society. So you as a middle school teacher, what grade level have you been teaching at, sir?
I teach 7th grade.
And you're certified, what, 6th, 7th, 8th grade? How does that work with your teaching?
I'm certified for 7-12. So I can teach grades 7 through 12. But I have always been a 7th grade science teacher since I began teaching, since my career began.
Has this been a calling since birth?
Yeah. Yeah. I never really knew where I was going to land when I got my teaching certification. I always envisioned myself as a high school teacher, but once I got into the middle school, I just loved the age group so much. I knew immediately that's where I wanted to be, and that's where I've been ever since. So it's been a great experience.
So I'm trying to think of the celebrity that you most resemble. Has anybody told you that you're a certain celebrity or compared you to anybody previously?
No. Who are you going to tell me? I can't wait to hear this.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. Bob, have you come up with an opinion yet? I'm trying to describe him to people. I'm assuming, are you about, how tall are you, sir, and how old are you?
I am 57 and probably about 5'11".
All right. So now we got the picture. Slightly gray hair. Are you a grandfather or a father at all, sir?
I am father of 2, not a grandfather yet. I have grand dogs and I have grand kittens. I have a couple of each, but no grandchildren yet. I have one daughter who's married, and I've been married for a couple of years now, but no grandkids yet. So I'm waiting and looking forward to it.
That's exciting stuff. Are they both here in Rochester as well?
One in Buffalo and one in Rochester. And by the way, congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you. I do appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
very
phenomenal.
exciting
So,
stuff.
but
Yeah,
grand dogs is not that far from having a grandkid. I'm sorry. I mean, you're gonna when that dog passes, you're all gonna cry together. It's gonna be a big
right.
event, like
And he's going to have the
It,
responsibility of
it's
watching.
it's a little less responsibility though. So
Well, I don't know.
yeah,
You gotta feed them. The only thing you're missing is you don't change a diaper.
this is true. This is true.
You just gotta pick up the poop
Yeah,
in your backyard.
that's right. Yeah, I got to clean that up. But it's all good. Yeah.
So you must have had a career before being a middle school teacher?
I did. This is my second career, and I've had an interesting past, I guess some people say. So before I was a teacher, I was let's see how far back I want to go here. Out of high school, I went to college, but went to college for drama English. I went to Geneseo, and it was a double major for drama English. I did that because I really wanted to pursue the entertainment field, and left after a year and moved to Vegas and lived in Vegas for a bit. Was married at the time, got married and moved to Vegas and lived in Vegas for a bit and eventually wanted to start a family and moved back to do that because I'm originally from Rochester. So was my wife. So we moved back to Rochester to start a family. That's when I started to get into the field of education. It took me a number of years to do it because I was married at the time, started having children, so I had a responsibility, and so it took me a little bit longer than most. I'm a non-traditional student. Took me a number of years to get my degrees, but I knew it's what I wanted to do. So eventually, I did get the degree. So I have a sort of a non-traditional past and background. I'm not the typical student right out of high school directly into college and then into a career. I took an alternate path.
Do you think that helped you with the second stage of your career of your life path?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it really in a couple different ways. First, I really wanted it to follow entertainment. I really wanted to get into that field. I'm really glad that I did follow it because I think that if I hadn't, I would have always wondered what if I did. And I would have always, I don't want to say regretted, but because I really don't have any regrets, but I really would have felt like, boy, I should have in some way done that. And I don't feel that now. I mean, I pursued it. I experienced it. I felt it. I saw it. I lived it. And I had a great time doing it. I learned a lot from it. There were so many lessons to learn in the actual field, and it's the same thing in the classroom. You learn so much more actively doing it than you can sitting in a classroom and learning about it. It's just a different learning experience. So I learned much from it, and I'm really glad that I did do it. But when I eventually entered into education, I was much more committed. And because I was older, I think I had a little more dedication. And I don't mean that with any disrespect. I don't mean to say that younger kids or younger students don't have dedication. What I mean is that because I was older and I had a family and I had children, I felt that responsibility, and I felt the responsible drive to make sure that I was taking care of my family. So it wasn't just me, a single individual, just like going to school to get an education. It was me getting an education while at the same time providing for a family. And so I really didn't want to. I really wanted to make sure that I was driven enough and that I was going to continue the path and finish it. So, so it was a different approach, but I'm really glad that I took the path that I did. There were many learning lessons, lots to learn, lots of experience, and I look back on everything that I did, knowing that it all led me to this point. And if I oftentimes wonder, if I hadn't gone through that, where would I be right now? And I'm happy where I am right now, and I only got here because of what I went through.
Amen to that, right? You can't take away those experiences. You can only learn from them and grow from them.
That's exactly it. Yeah. I mean, how can you have any regrets? I mean, you are where you are because of your experiences in life. That's sort of actually what led me into my research field also, because your experiences build who you are, and it sounds easy to say, but there's so much science behind that. I mean, the way you approach life, your perspectives, all of that is built by the experiences that that you had in your lifetime, and that's even from infancy all the way up. So it's an interesting field.
Did you enjoy living in Vegas?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Did you enjoy living in Vegas? Isn't that where you said you were before Rochester?
Oh, absolutely loved it. Yeah, loved Vegas, loved the environment, loved the scene, the life, the climate, the scenery. I mean, everything about it. I just love Nevada. Arizona's also awesome, but I really love Nevada. And only came back because, as I said, we wanted to start a family. And we're not. My wife and I are not big gamblers at all, so it was easy to live there and not have to worry about going gambling every night and losing money.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easy to live there. But when most people think of Vegas, they think of just the strip and all the nightlife and the lights. But there are suburbs, and there are families, and there are school districts, and there are churches, and there are people who live in Nevada, in Vegas, and have a regular, what you would call a regular normal life. And that's what we did. We lived off the strip. We lived in a suburb area, and it was wonderful. We both loved it.
Now, Henderson is one of the suburbs there, right?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I enjoyed it. I had friends that moved there and lived up in Henderson, and I really enjoyed. Actually, my favorite time ever in that area was spending the 2 or 3 days with them in that suburb. So I'm so glad you described it that way for people.
Yeah, and it really is. I mean, you can't even. It's interesting because we lived, as I said, far off the strip, and if we wanted to, we can drive in for a night and spend a few hours just messing around with some slots and having dinner and seeing a show, and then just go back home. It's really interesting. It's not just living on the strip. That's when you live in Vegas, it's not that kind of a lifestyle.
So were you guys hikers and outdoors people as well?
No. I am a big outdoor guy. I mean, I love the scenery, and I love in Vegas, it was just awesome because you had the mountains around you. If you wanted to, you could drive a little bit and get to a lake. You could drive a little bit and get to the snow-capped mountain. You can go to the desert. You can go to the bright lights in the city. I mean, you had everything around you. It was wonderful scenery. And the climate was just great. That's my kind of climate.
How long were you in? Were you in Vegas, or was there multiple places you lived before you came back to Rochester?
We were out there for a couple of years, and I actually was in California for a little bit too, right near UCLA, and was there for a little bit too. So it was a couple of years, and I got to do a whole bunch of shows, and I was in all the casinos, some of which don't even exist anymore, so because they were torn down. But I had just a wonderful time, and they were great. Not only great memories, but more importantly, they were great learning experiences that really helped me develop where I am today. Not only as an educator, but in all the other projects that I have going on, all the other paths that I've gone on to.
Mm-hmm.
So wonderful experiences in every aspect.
So did you get your bachelor degree before you went out there, or did you get all of your degrees after you got back?
So I left school because I was young, and I'm going to say a little naive, but I was young, and I said I really need to get into the field right now. Like, I can't sit here in a classroom anymore. I just felt as though I just needed to be there right then and there, like in the field of entertainment, doing it.
So what was your first job?
So when I went out to Vegas initially, I put myself out there and got my name out there and met some people. I networked, and I lined up a few gigs, and that's how I just got started. So I started really small, and I was doing not the big shows in the casinos by any means, but I was doing the smaller venues that are in the casinos. I was doing those. Then I started going around town and doing